is acceptable. Not only just to be employed, but to pay the good money and to have security. And the San Francisco 49ers, and this feels very, very legit to me. Not all the reports I'm hearing on Westbrook feel legit. This feels legit. They are looking at quarterbacks, and they like Zach Wilson of BYU, who, by the way, I saw a couple years ago. He's a very clever player. Got the height, got the arm, moves around. Little light. He's about 210 pounds. But if you watch him play, especially with Kyler Murray and all this stuff, you look at him and you're like, okay, that works somewhere. I mean, I've watched him play for the last couple of years, and my takeaway is he does a lot of these little clever, he's got a little point guard in him, and he's 6'3", so he's like got some Kyler, not Kyler the runner, but he's got some Kyler with a big arm. He looks like an NFL quarterback to me. And so this past weekend, he played very, very well. So here's the thing about Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think the bar is changing. First of all, we have a supply of quarterbacks now that there's so many. We're getting like 4 and 5 taken in the first round. There's so many. The supply is so great, and most of them are better sooner, that the bar's being raised. And I think now, for a guy that gets hurt, like Jimmy Garoppolo, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, Carson Wentz gets hurt, and Jimmy Garoppolo get hurt. Garoppolo a lot. You got to give me a wow factor. So Wentz and Aaron Rodgers get banged up, but there is a wow factor. You watch their arms and their arm angles, you're like, okay, 99% of the world can't do that. Garoppolo's problem is he gets hurt a lot, and there's no wow factor. Forget the fact that Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson never get hurt. Lamar doesn't get hurt. Josh Allen doesn't get hurt in the NFL. That's the ideal situation. But if you are a guy that gets banged, that misses time, Carson Wentz, Sam Darnold, and Carson Wentz right now is much better than Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, Aaron Rodgers is better than Carson Wentz. You have to give me a wow factor. You can't just be, I'm hurt a lot and I'm solid. That's done. Those days are over. And when I look, and by the way, I like Garoppolo, but when he got hurt again, I'm out on him. If Carson Wentz had another serious injury again, even with his wow factor, I'm out on him. If Aaron Rodgers has another serious injury, I'd consider being out on him. Like the new standard in the NFL is, if you get hurt, if Kirk Cousins got hurt, it's over. You've got to give me a wow factor, because Lamar comes into this league with a wow factor. Kyler's a wow factor. Tua Sunday was a wow factor. Josh Allen's a wow factor. That's the only thing saving Sam Darnold right now. That's it. That's the knock on Baker. I get inconsistency and no wow. The only thing saving Darnold right now, why somebody will pick him up, there is a wow factor. You watch him athletically sometimes. Every game, 2 plays, you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. If you get hurt, where's the wow? And with Garoppolo, I simply don't see it. Accuracy, okay. Arm, okay. Athletically, marginal. Joy with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Well, speaking of someone who had an injury but had a wow factor, Tua fought back from a devastating hip injury that could have threatened his football career. 1 year later, he's 2-0 as a starter in the NFL, and he's reflecting on his difficult journey.
I don't know if I'll ever be my old self, because when something dramatic like that happens, it's just a continuous process, I think, for me, making a decision to decide play again or not. So I'm just blessed to be here.
He said they were making a decision to decide if he was even going to play football again or not too long ago. And now he is a starter in the NFL. And we were talking about this a little bit yesterday. A big part of coming back from injuries is the mental aspect of it. You have to trust your body again. And if you're an athlete, there's an added element of your job, right? Like if you or I tears an Achilles or ACL or something, like it's going to be a huge inconvenience to our lives. I've done it as a radio producer. It was awful. Like you can't do anything at work. It's like another job. You have to leave your work and then go to rehab. And if you don't do it, you could not walk right ever again. Like it's a process, but you're likely still working or you're, being taken care of in some way. If you're an athlete, this is literally your job. So it's your job to rehab and come back, but you're also not able to do what you do, which is play your sport. So there is an added level of anxiety of, is it going to happen again as soon as I get hit? Alex Smith, people are watching, they feel a little bit of anxiety watching you. And a hip dislocation and he had a hip dislocation and a posterior wall fracture. literally a year ago. It was November 2019. Obviously, Bo Jackson is the most notable player with a similar injury, and it ended his career. Dennis Pitta, tight end for the Ravens, suffered multiple hip dislocations and fractures in his career, and the last one ended his career in 2017. I feel like it's just it's a big sigh of relief to see Tua out there moving around, and he looks more mobile than I feel like I saw him in Alabama. Because this was, I mean, even talking to Trent Dilfer, this was the fear with Tua, is that he's going to try and do things.
But he's slow.
That he's not athletic enough to do.
Yeah.
But in this game, he looked like he has the awareness of not only when to get down, but when to kind of, even the hit that was kind of like, oh my God, they're both closing in on him. He got underneath it.
Yeah, and for the record, I never bought into the Bo Jackson concerns. Bo Jackson was a power runner who took shots. Tua will probably get hit once a game. About once a game, you get popped. Bo, on a good day, was getting hit 12 times, 13 times, 15 times.
It's a hard comparison.
Yeah, Tua, the key with Tua, we all knew he was accurate. We all knew that. That was never the argument. The question was, where's the wow? And when you watched him instinctively in the red zone and his quick, this is what Dilfer said. He's very intellectually, physically, very twitchy. Like, stuff just is very natural in short spaces. And it was like, okay, that's what he's talking about. Like, that's what I saw. And I'm like, all right, there's, and he's not Kyler the runner, but there was wow there. There were 2 or 3 wow plays. And that, to me, is, even if he got hurt, I'm like, okay, Wentz, Aaron Rodgers, I can deal with some injuries. I saw some wow. That was the big revelation to me. I saw some wow.
And we're in a really unique space in the NFL at the quarterback position now, where the standard, you still kind of look for the pocket passer, big guy, strong arm thing, but it doesn't have to be that to be successful
This
anymore.
is why I defend Jared Goff. Matt Ryan's a pocket passer. If you watch Jared Goff, he actually throws the ball beautifully moving. And the McVay moves the pocket 2 out of 3 plays. So when anybody bangs on Goff, I'm like, he's not that much of a pocket passer. They roll him 60% of the plays, and he's a very good thrower of the football moving. Derek Carr is better in the pocket than moving. But you saw this weekend, Derek Carr can move. So, you don't have to be a great athlete, but can you roll Phillip Rivers, you can't roll the pocket. You can literally not roll it. Tom Brady, you can't roll the pocket.
And if you're not the best athlete, to the point with Tom Brady, how do you see the game? What is the intellectual side of the game?
Then you've got to be way up,
right.
Penthouse.
So Antonio Brown played 39 snaps in his Bucs debut, and Bruce Arians wants to have that number decreased going forward. He said his pitch count was a little higher than we anticipated. We tried to go 2 minutes early in the ball game just to get some life, so his pitch count was up a little bit, but he handled it really, really well. I'm hoping we're not throwing the ball that much this week, so hopefully his pitch count goes down. Yeah, I would say that's probably generally a good idea to throw the ball a little less.
I still contend, if I have Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, why can't I run the ball 58% of the time and pass it 42%? This offense is now becoming a passing offense. Does everybody understand how talented Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones are? That is a great running back tandem. Fournette's never gotten the love because he came out with McCaffrey, and McCaffrey is so spectacular as a receiver and runner. We forget that Leonard Fournette's still a 1,000-yard back. I think Tampa Bay is losing itself a little. This should really be one of the few teams in the NFL, if you said, and I know you got Mike Evans and Godwin, I get it, but Gronk's arguably a top 5 tight end blocker. The Iowa right tackle they got out of the draft is a better run blocker than a pass blocker. I've got 2 elite running backs. To me, this team has lost sight of what I think they should be, which is a control the clock, run the ball, and then occasionally go over the top to Mike and AB and Chris Godwin for touchdowns.
Well, you got to have some balance, too. That game plan was insane. You ran the ball 4 times. Technically it was 5, but one was a kneel down. So you ran the ball 4 times.
It's the opposite of what I think they should be. I think the cake is the run game. I think the icing is Mike Evans, AB, and Chris Godwin over the top. 6 targets each, a touchdown each, big play.
In my opinion, you can't have cake without icing. No. Antonio Brown had 5 targets, 3 receptions for 31 yards. Finally, the Patriots host the Ravens on Sunday night, and according to Fox Bet, New England is a 7-point underdog. A Patriots opponent has not been favored by that much in Foxborough since they hosted the Rams in 2001.
Yeah.
And since Gillette Stadium opened in 2002, they've been home underdogs just 5 times and never by more than 3 points.
Okay, so I haven't bet Patriot games this year. This is my favorite New England Cam bet of the year. First of all, Cam against Lamar is going to want to prove to people, I still got it. He's not the only guy that can move around. Secondly is New England's still playing high-level defense. Go ask Buffalo, who just routed Seattle. Go ask Buffalo. Go ask the Raiders. Okay, this is a football team that's still playing good defense. This is going to be an ugly, low-scoring game, and Baltimore's going to